All right, go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Roland Bullard. I serve here at Dillard as Vice President for Student Success. I'm so excited to be here with two of my favorites, Mr. Rodney Perkins and Spencer Jones. These gentlemen are going to talk with you a little bit today about the COVID-19 vaccine and sort of pros, cons, experiences, and so on and so forth. And we hopefully in a little bit will also be joined by our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Corey Hebert, who actually is known far and wide for his commitment to Black and Brown communities, but he's just also our campus doctor. And so we're just excited that he'll be here as well. I wanted to make a couple of quick announcements and then I will turn it over to Rodney. So the first of which is that Dillard University will be asking its students this fall to receive the vaccine if they plan to live on campus. And there'll be an email that will come out that will give a little more information about that. But if you plan to live on campus or be involved with campus programs this fall, we will ask for students to get the vaccine. We will also ask our faculty and staff to get the vaccine. Interestingly enough, our faculty and staff have already at a clip of about 85% already completed the vaccine. So that's the number of folks. So out of our, say, 300 or so faculty and staff, more than 250 of them have already gotten the vaccine. So they are taking this very seriously. So now it's up to our students to go after it and get it done so that we can sort of return to some sense of normalcy come this fall. And so if you have questions about that, as that email comes out, please email us and let us know what your concerns are and so on and so forth. The cool part is that everybody on the phone call today already, or on the Zoom call today, has already had the vaccine, I think. And so if that's the case, that you can ask them questions as they are your colleagues, and they'll be able to give you more information about that. The other thing I'll say is that between now and the end of school, as you are heading out for the fall, for the spring, if you would still like to be tested, even if you have the vaccine, unfortunately, you can still possibly contract the virus. So if you would like to be tested before you go home, you will simply have to stop by our health center and you'll be able to be tested before you go home. And we will send out again another email about that. It'll let you know where the time frames that you'll be able to go in and literally do a walk-in to just go in and be tested so that you know that you are COVID-free before you head home to your friends and loved ones. And so that is another one of those free services that you'll be able to do with no waiting as we move forward. So again, I just want to thank everybody for all of your hard work. We've had one of the lowest infection rates of COVID-19 in the state. And so that is because we've taken it seriously. We were able to have Spring Fest last week. And so the reason we were able to do that is because you all went to bat for COVID-19 and took care of yourselves and took care of each other. And so with that being said, I want to say thank you. And then I want to turn it over to Mr. Rodney Perkins, who is here on the call. And we also have Dr. Hebert. So awesome. We'll be able to ask questions of him as well. And so welcome to everybody that is logging in, but also welcome to all of these great gentlemen on the phone.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Bullard. So hello to everybody on the call. My name is Rodney Perkins. I am a graduating senior biology major from New Orleans, Louisiana. And today I'll be your sort of moderator for this guided discussion about COVID-19. As you guys know, we have, as Dr. Bullard said, had some of the lowest rates of COVID. So that is in big part due to you guys keeping yourselves safe, and partly to us trying to be able to make sure we can also have fun and be able to, get all the things that need to be done, right? So in case you guys don't know, I'm also the director of Blue Troop. Blue Troop on campus is our active COVID-19 battling super squad, I like to call them. So we're really the ones that are trying to advocate for things like masks, getting those testing sites on campus, getting students informed about vaccines. And that's part of the reason why we're here today, right? So of course we can get all of the people we want to tell you about COVID or what's in the COVID-19 vaccine or who's going to get it and why. But I think the best type of people to tell you guys about their experience with the vaccines are your own personal peers. And this leads me into introducing one of my personal children, Spencer Jones, who is one of the recipients of the vaccine. So Spencer, can you tell us a little bit about which vaccine you got, why you got it, and what the importance of everyone else getting it would be to you?
Of course, of course. Well, then, so again, thank you all and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this call. It is definitely an honor to definitely be on this call with Dr. Corey Hebert, who I see on the news all the time. It's like, wow. But then again, my name is Spencer Jones.
You the man, Spencer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Spencer Jones. I'm a second-year urban studies and public policy major here at Dillard from Arkansas. And on last month, I did receive the Moderna vaccine. Actually, here's my COVID vaccination card right here. So I've gotten my first vaccine, my first dose of the vaccine. I'm due for my second one coming up pretty soon. As far as how my first experience with my first dose went, it actually went very well. I did experience a few side effects, but that is to be expected. It wasn't anything that I couldn't handle. And mostly I just felt a lot of fatigue, which that's good for me because that gave me an excuse to go ahead and sleep. So actually that was a good side effect for me. And I just want to really express the sheer importance of why it is important for us, specifically HBCUs, to get this vaccine. If you want to return back to a state of normalcy and return back to, how the world used to be, it's so important for us to get out of the stigma of, vaccines don't help, vaccines are not good, because they really are, and vaccines really save lives, and not just the COVID-19 vaccine, but really vaccines all around. And actually, this leads me to a great question that I even personally have for Dr. Hebert. So, and I think that this will be quite helpful for other students as well, who may not receive the COVID-19 vaccination on campus. So, Dr. Corey Hebert, can you talk about locations in New Orleans where you can receive the COVID-19 vaccine? Like specifically for me, I got the Moderna vaccine, and I always hear, vaccination drives for the Pfizer and the Johnson Johnson. Well, I don't know about Johnson now, but I hear more about those. So can you talk about different locations in New Orleans for the COVID-19?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to thank everybody that's on this call, because we couldn't have done it without the students. I mean, when I go to these meetings and Dr. Bullock goes to these meetings, y'all have no idea how proud we are, because we sitting up there with the rest of these schools and they're like, oh, we've had to shut down this, we've had to shut down that. And we're like, no, it's because of you guys, right? So that's really important. What I do want to address is this vaccine issue. Now I'm gonna have after Spencer, when you finish, I want to kind of give a little summation too. But the vaccines, most places are offering all three, and as a person that has to deal with this as far as in the media, everybody was offering, what they had at the time. So DePaul Health Centers, which is actually on our campus, it's right, when you drive on the side of campus, it's in the same building as the Student Health Center. They are offering that vaccine right here on campus. All you gotta do is call, make the appointment, right? If you go to WDSU.com and press the button on vaccine information, it'll give you every place and all the hours that the vaccines are being given. And so, and I'm gonna say something here, Spencer, and hold on a second. I'm gonna say something, Spencer, and this is really important. The reason why people don't want to get these vaccines, man, seriously, we've done the studies, man. And they got nothing to do with, oh, the mRNA is going to affect my DNA or there's a tracer and all this kind of stuff. That's not it. It's people talk about, oh, it's the vaccine hesitancy because of the Tuskegee experiment. That ain't either. What it is people that are over the age of 18 don't like to know they're going to feel bad for a couple of days. That's it. Look, let me tell you why we did the study. You give children 2 months, 4 months, 6 months of age, 5 shots at one time, 5 shots. And then at the 6 months, we can give the flu shot, okay? So if we give that flu shot, what we did, that would be 6 shots in a 6-month-old. And all the parents would say, yes, give the 6 shot. Then we say, well, by the way, ma'am, we have the flu shot for you today as well. Nah, I don't get the flu shot. What you mean you don't get a flu shot? You just gave your 6-month-old baby 6 shots, including the flu shot. Well, when the flu shot give you the flu. So you want your baby to have the flu? You see what I'm saying? So it's not that then they end up telling you, man, I don't want to feel bad, man. I'm scared of needles, all this kind of stuff. So that's where it comes from. It really is. And we have to be honest about that, right? We know that there's always side effects to every vaccine, side effects to everything, Spencer and Rodney. It's just, you have to mitigate this with the concept of risk-benefit ratio. I'm going to give you one more example. Johnson & Johnson vaccine, right? 1 in a million, you get blood clots. 1 in a million. You know what the odds are of you dying in a car accident getting in your car? 1 in 7,300. But you get in your car every day. You know what the odds of you getting a blood clot from smoking marijuana or cigarettes? Blood clots, right? 1,700 in a million. Oral contraceptive, not included with the vaccine. This is by itself. If your woman takes oral contraceptives, odds of you having a blood clot, 800 in a million. And you talking about 1 in a million for some blood clots? Y'all talking about practice? You talking about practice? I feel like Allen Iverson. You see what I'm saying? So all this stuff, man, all this stuff it's in our minds. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that the history of America has made it so that we should be, envious. It should be mindful or worried about things that come nuts. But I will tell you this, and I'm gonna shut up. Rich white people stood in line in the cold to get this vaccine. And I'm gonna tell you something. If rich white people are getting it, you probably need to get in line. So I'll leave it at that.
No, well, thank you so much for that. You definitely answered my question and more. And thank you for letting me know where to go and get my second vaccine for sure. And I'm sure that you saying that to me will help a whole lot more students too, because I definitely didn't know that all 3 of them were offered right here on campus. Thank you for that.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Spencer. What a great question, which kind of segues me into my streamline of questions that I have for you, Dr. Hebert. So, of course, as we all know, this vaccine has definitely been the talk of the town in the Black community specifically, right? You have people saying, well, they put like you said, they put tracers in the vaccine and they have things that are going to mess up my DNA. So let me ask you this. What's actually in this vaccine? What are people putting in their bodies and how does this work? And I know a lot of people are hesitant because of how fast it came out, but people such as you and myself know how that came to be. So can you give us a brief rundown of those things for me real quick?
Okay. So the first thing is that coronavirus is not a really complex virus. The reason why coronavirus causes so much death is because nobody has antibodies. Nobody, no human being had antibodies, right? So coronavirus causes colds generally. But the reason why we don't die from it is because it's been around with humans for hundreds and hundreds of years. So we all have antibodies to it, okay? That's why children who have really good immune systems, they don't die in general from coronavirus because they rely on their awesome, strong immune system to make antibodies and move on, right? They get a little cold for 10 days, move on. Old people, on the other hand, don't rely on their great immune system. They rely on their antibodies that they made when they were children and young adults. And so cells stay in their body and they're called memory cells. So they don't rely on getting exposed and making new antibodies. They rely on getting exposed and already having those antibodies because they were made when they had a good immune system, right? That's why when no one has antibodies to coronavirus, who's going to die? Old people, because they have never seen coronavirus in this way because nobody had it to SARS-CoV-2, right? Which is coronavirus. So that's that first thing. The second thing is that the virus that the mRNA viruses, those in the mRNA vaccines, those are Moderna and Pfizer. Both of these vaccines have new, quote unquote, new modalities, the way that they work, okay, using mRNA. And mRNA is like a Post-it note. So mRNA is basically, it gives messages. It stands for messenger RNA. And you take that vaccine and basically when you inject it into you, you put a Post-it note inside your vein to say, hey man, check this out. If you see this virus, go ahead and start making some antibodies, okay? That's what it's kind of all about. And people say, well, that's new. It's actually not new. It's actually been around a while when we started seeing MERS and SARS in Asia much earlier, 20 years ago. But the reason why nobody ever made it, we just put it on the shelf, is because it's against a coronavirus, which causes colds. So what type of pharmaceutical company would make an mRNA vaccine for something that doesn't cause death or it doesn't cause you to get sick, really just a cold? So they put that on the shelf and never made vaccines with it, because why would you do that? That would be a waste of time. So then here comes coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, which nobody has antibodies to. They're like, wait a minute, we can use this because we've been planning on using this for a long time. Pull the mRNA off the shelf and started making the vaccine. Done. That's what that one is. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is going to sound crazy to you, because when I tell you, you're going to be like, oh, here we go. It is a vector virus that uses a monkey protein. You're like, oh, hell no, I'm not getting that, But the point is, all your vaccines are vector viruses that use these types of things. People just don't hear about this stuff. And the reason why you don't is because it didn't mean anything to you. When y'all had to come in here and get all these vaccines to come to school, and you'd be like, what's in the package insert? You didn't say that. You was like, give me the vaccine so I can go hang out on the yard and pledge or whatever, okay? That's what it was all about. It wasn't about that. So now that you have spent all these days sitting in front of the TV and everybody's involved in the manufacture of these vaccines, have you ever looked at what the package insert is for ibuprofen? No, but you take it like Tic Tacs and M&Ms when you come in here every day. But guess what? Read the package insert. It's the #1 cause of Stevens-Johnson syndrome in the entire world. And if you take one of those, each time you take an ibuprofen, you could take it and all your lips will fall off, your skin will fall off, and you die. But you don't know that because you never read it, because you weren't involved in this whole thing, okay? So what I need you to do, okay? You're a student. I've been a student before, right? I get it. But you're not a doctor yet. Just like I'm a doctor, but I actually don't work on cars. So if I go to the place where the people work on the cars, I can't watch a Twitter video or Facebook video or Instagram video and go to the Mercedes-Benz dealership and say, no, y'all doing it all wrong, bro, because I saw a video and they told me that y'all be putting mRNA in cars and it ain't right. I would never do that, because I don't understand that and I don't know. So I have to trust that the people that are telling me what I need to know are telling me appropriately, because I believed them all the way up until now. Why did I stop now? You had the FDA, everything you do is licensed and approved by the FDA. Now you tripping? You can't be tripping from the beginning, not be tripping at the beginning, then start tripping now. Either you're gonna believe it or you're not gonna believe it. And I've gotten the vaccines. As a matter of fact, I've gotten 2. Long story, but I got a Sanofi vaccine because I'm the principal investigator of all these trials. And I got the Sanofi vaccine, and I ended up getting the Johnson & Johnson one as well. And after I took the Johnson & Johnson one, I felt horrible. Okay, I ain't gonna even sit there and lie to you because there ain't no reason to lie about it. I didn't feel well for about 20 hours. I didn't have a high fever, but I felt ugh, And then after that, I felt stronger than I've ever felt before in my life because my immune system is ready. So done.
I know that's right. I truly appreciate the candidness, because that's honestly what people need. People will be able to sit up here and run down all the facts, but when you relate to it on that type of level, I think more people get it like that. And what you said about the doses, that actually leads me into my next question. So why does the vaccine typically for Moderna and Pfizer take 2 doses to get versus Johnson & Johnson that only needs 1?
All right, a couple of things with that, because they're 2 totally different things. It's like, one of them is an mRNA vaccine. The other one is an adenovirus vector vaccine. So the Johnson & Johnson vaccine actually started out as being a 2-dose vaccine. People don't know that, okay? But they saw that it started doing really well with just 1 dose. And the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, from the studies in Israel, it shows that they're about 90% with just 1 shot. So you probably could just get 1 shot. And if you've been paying attention out there, y'all, you would see that the ACIP, which is the Advisory Council on Immunization Practices of the CDC, who makes the decision on who's going to get it and why and how, we fought back and forth 50-50, because most people said we should give just the Pfizer Moderna vaccine to everybody, just 1 dose, so everybody can have some immunity. And other half people said, no, we should give 2 doses to the sickest people and the people at most risk, because we want them to have the best immunity. So we went back and forth, but it was about 51-49 to give the people 2 doses that really needed it. All right. So theoretically, 1 dose could really almost get you where you need to be, but we haven't talked about the variants. And the variants, you should have as much protection as you can with either Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, or Moderna. So all of them can give you some immunity. after the first shot. But they call booster shots because when you get one dose, the level goes about here. Then you don't want the level to go way back down here because then the boost back up, you got to go back here. So you give one shot and then the level's here. And before it starts to go down, you boost it high. That's why it's called a booster shot, okay? Because your immunity is so ready to just kill whatever it needs to kill. Then you want it to get higher and higher and higher. And that's why that's the way it is.
Well, wow, I didn't even know that myself. So thank you for letting me know. And I know that we mentioned before, Spencer did too, that, you kind of feel real bad, but then you feel stronger than ever. So why do people feel sore or ache after getting this vaccine?
That's a really good question. Okay. I like when, okay, so we're in Student Health Center and above us is like where you work out, like the workout facility, right? And all day I hear boom, 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 because basically you're hearing the weights hit the ground, right? From people lifting weights. Why lifting weights? Because they want their muscles to be stronger. And see, I have big biceps. I mean, like pythons. Not really, I'm just joking. But the point is, if I did, it would have taken me a really long time to work out to get my muscles strong. But as I'm doing that, my muscles get sore. After you work out, your muscles get sore all the time. But that's the price that your muscles are paying for getting bigger and bigger, okay? But at the end, you're stronger. That's what's happening with your immune system. Your immune system doesn't know COVID-19. So you inject the vaccine, your immune system starts to work to get stronger. And with that work, you get sore. With that work, you get a little fever. With that work, you get a little tired. But with that work, then your immune system gets stronger. And at the end, you have the pythons, right? And you're good. But if you don't do that, then you just have skinny arms like mine. You don't want that. Just don't.
Well, thank you for that. So let me ask you this. I know a lot of people, they've already gotten their first shot, or they've gotten one shot, or they may have gotten both shots. So what's the next steps for a person after they've been fully vaccinated? Do you toss the mask? Do you keep the mask? Can you go out? Can you do all of these things?
Okay, a couple of things here. As a matter of fact, I wanted to, this is all up to the minute. I mean, I get stuff because I'm the chief medical editor for the Black News Channel at 75 Million Homes. I work for CDC and all this stuff. So I get the latest stuff, and I just want to make sure that we don't have this variant thing. Hold on one second. Hold on. I just want to get the latest. Okay. Okay. So what the FDA just came out with was the fact that the NBA had a study, right, to show, when it came out, about 4,000 people came out 2 days ago, that showed that the people, when they were in the bubble playing basketball, that even though they had a positive test, they were not contagious anymore if they had a positive test after the 14-day period, right? So you can't there are two reasons why you can't throw the mask away. We still want you to wear the mask and to keep some distance, because there are these mutants and these variants that are around, and they are more infectious towards you, meaning your age group, okay? So in Texas, they had to shut it down, and they had a mutant that was from a Texas university, a variant from the Texas university that was causing problems, okay? So it's a double-edged sword. You can only have mutation if you have infection, okay? That's why we want everybody to get vaccinated, so we have decreased infection, because we're at about 65,000 cases a day. We need that number to be like around 10,000. If we don't, that means we have more infection. We have more infection, we have more mutation, because the virus is a living thing. The virus's goal is to kill you, okay? And every time you get a viral infection, it's your body against the virus. If the virus wins, you die. If your immune system wins, you live and the virus dies, right? But you got to think about it like when you are in your house and you are about to go to sleep, you check every window, every door, put on the alarm system, everything to make sure that your house is tight, right? But the burglar only has to find the one thing you didn't lock, right? So you have to look at everything, but the burglar has to look at one. The virus is the burglar. So it's only looking for the one place you didn't glove up, mask up, wash up, whatever, right? So what it does is that once it gets inside you, then it starts to replicate, and then it sees your antibodies. Like, man, I ain't worried about these antibodies. I'm about to flip the script and then do something else and then mutate, okay? But it couldn't do that if it didn't get into a person that didn't get vaccinated. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we have to have that many people vaccinated so the virus can't mutate. So, but with that, we know everybody's not gonna get vaccinated, so we have mutations. And those mutations, even though the vaccines will help you some, the vaccines may not protect you 100% from the mutations. And that's why we still want you to wear the mask, because even though you've been vaccinated, you could still get coronavirus. It's just that, just like with the flu, even though you've been vaccinated with the flu, 2 months later, you can still get the flu, but you won't die. You might get a little sick, but you have antibodies enough to where you can fight it off, because all these vaccines still protect against coronavirus, and all these viruses are still all coronavirus. They're just a little bit different. That's why we're not going to have to worry about this forever, because eventually everybody's going to have some antibody resistance to coronavirus, and then we'll be able to have our immune systems fight it off. But until then, until that herd immunity is reached, then what we have to do is constantly make sure that we try to keep down levels of infectivity so that we won't have the mutations. So you're wearing it so you don't spread it, but you're also wearing it because we don't know 100% if you can't spread it after the vaccine. We think so. But that's the first reason. The second reason is you can get a mutation, and then you could actually get it, and the mutations are more dangerous to college-age students.
Thank you so much for this. And I have one final question for you in closing, and that pertains more so to Dillard University. So what can students do to better help ourselves and each other in combating the COVID-19 virus? And also, where can we get the top up-to-date information? Like, who should we be following and who should we be listening to? Because there are a lot of he say, she says on Twitter and Facebook just giving wrong information. So where can we go for that?
Okay, so you can always, I'm at Corey Hebert MD on Twitter, Corey Hebert MD on Facebook and Instagram, same old thing. You can follow me because I'm the chief medical editor correspondent for NBC television for this region, as well as the Black News Channel, which is in 75 million households across the country. So I am like the Black Sanjay Gupta, if you will, for people that are trying to figure this out. And the reason why we have to have a Black one is because if this disease kills us more than it kills everybody else, so we have to do different things. So on Dillard's campus, what you need to do is, and I want you, Mr. Rodney, I want you just to always look. We can start here. The hashtag starts here. It's already copywritten. Wash up, mask up, separate, and vaccinate. Wash up, mask up, separate, and vaccinate. Look, the virus is a mean virus, but it's not a magical virus. It can only get in you from your nose, into your nose and your eyes. That's it. That's it. So the only way it can get into you is if somebody's talking to you and it goes up your nose, or you spit in their eyes by just talking, or you touch somebody and then you rub your eyes and rub your nose. That's it. Boom. That's it. So if you walked around in a bubble, you'd never get it. It's the way it is. Okay. It's not like, it's not magic where it goes through your clothes and all. It's not like that. Right. So what you need to do is you got to wash up, mask up, separate, vaccinate. And if you do that, you're going to be good. And I promise you, this is going to be over. It's going to be over. And the point is, in 1918, we had something called the Spanish flu. It was a pandemic just like this, killed millions of people, okay? It's really, you need to make sure y'all do some research, because it had a cultural misappropriation, because it didn't start in Spain. As a matter of fact, Spain was the first honest group of people to say that it was there. It actually was in England, Portugal, and all those other places, and they just lied and said it wasn't there. And then Spain got the moniker of the Spanish flu. It really wasn't that way, right? But you know how that works. So anyway, 1918, there were no vaccinations. They had social distancing, they wore masks, but they had no vaccination. We're still around, right? People still around. So we will get to herd immunity if there were no vaccinations. The problem is how many people have to die for us to get there. And the people that could die is your mama, your grandma, your cousin, you. That's the problem. And we're trying to preserve our race. We're trying to preserve our culture. So we're not yelling at you to tell you to get the vaccine. I'm just saying, I want you to do your part, because I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be, a chef. I want you to be a lawyer. I want you to be whatever the hell you want to be. And you can't be it if you're debilitated. You can't do it if you're dead. And I also want you to make sure that your grandmother's still around, because I'm looking for the sweet potato pie recipe. I need to make sure that I understand these things. People can't die, because when people die, we lose our culture. And we can't lose our culture, and we're dying more than anybody else. So it's your responsibility to get the vaccine to preserve our culture. It's not something I'm telling you that I'm yelling at you to get. It's your responsibility.
Wow, thank you so much for this. Everybody, just as a reminder, this is Brother Dr. Corey Hebert to me, but this is Dr. Corey Hebert, ladies and gentlemen. He has done a fantastic job in telling us the vaccine and our next steps as students, not only as students, but as a community, because like he said, you know, we do not want people dying off because then we lose our culture. And now, if there are any closing words from any of the panelists or any lasting questions, of course, as a reminder, please feel free to use our question and answer box. And of course, make sure you email Dr. Corey Hebert if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out to student engagement. They will also be happy to give you his information as well in order for you guys to better prepare yourselves for this battle, because like we said, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So let's try and aid the process. Okay, guys? So if there's no more questions, then Dr. Hebert, I would like to say thank you for joining us today. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. And we will see you next time. And hopefully we can have more conversations like this.
All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you.